So the goal of pantry organization is one thing: to make everything easy to find. Now, I know that sounds basic, but in the end, that's really what you're aiming for. If everything's easy to find, that means it's going to become less of a mess over time. So with that in mind, we have several tips that we're going to share with you to make that happen. Tip number one is grouping. All this simply means is to make sure like things are with like things. So for example, if you have breakfast items, you should consider having a breakfast section in your pantry. Same goes for snacks. If you have things that are used frequently together, it makes sense to put them with each other, so that way it makes it easier for you and your family members to find. Tip number two is quick access. Now, while this sounds really similar to the first tip, it actually builds on the first principle. Quick access simply means that the things that you access most frequently you should have in the prime locations. So for example, if you have kids and they need to access healthy snacks, you should have those snacks at eye level, easy to reach, and where they can see all the contents quickly, easily, and get to them without making a mess. Same thing goes for things that you might use in the kitchen yourself. You should have those in prime locations in your pantry in a well-lit area so you can get to the things that you need without having to dig around. Tip number three is all about containers. When it comes to choosing containers for your pantry, there are so many options. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming and you don't know exactly where to start. So the first thing you can do is kind of take inventory of what you have in your kitchen and in your pantry and figure out what things you want to make sure you have in an easy to access container. Once you have inventory of those things, you'll have a better idea of what size containers, what types and shapes of containers that you need to purchase to make sure your pantry is organized to its maximum potential. For example, we love these OXO containers. They're great for all of our dry goods. All of our baking supplies are stored in these, and then we can quickly and easily access them, take measurements, get what we need, and then refill them as we run out. Now, in some cases, the OXO containers aren't the best choice. In our case, we chose to go with something like this for our breakfast cereals, and we did that for a couple of reasons. One is because the OXO containers aren't quite as big, not quite as big as we wanted them to be to store all the cereals that we tend to purchase like in the bulk bags. We needed something a little bit larger to be able to put everything in it so we could actually ditch the bags and not have those stored in the pantry as well. The other thing that we like about this style container is that it's not a hard, rigid acrylic. So if the kids happen to get the cereal out and drop it repeatedly, we're not worried about it breaking because the plastic is more resilient. Likewise with labeling, you have a lot of different choices. As you can see behind me, we have a lot of ingredients that look very similar. So that isn't very good when it comes to finding what you need and keeping your kitchen organized and tidy. It's also not good for cookies if you mix up like salt with sugar. So to make things simple and organized, you need to make sure that things are labeled. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. One is at the basic levels to use a marker if it works for your containers that you're using. Another option is to use a chalkboard-based sticker. You can use a chalk pen or a piece of chalk to write what ingredients are in that container. That's a really good choice for you if you frequently change out the ingredients within containers. You could also use labels that you print out from a label maker. And on the high end, you could use something like a Cricut machine to print out some high quality vinyl cut labels that make your containers really stand out. Tip number 4 is all about specialized organization. Now, while a lot of focus goes on the fancy containers like the OXOs that we have for our dry goods, there are a lot of other opportunities in your pantry that would require a different type of container where that might not be the greatest fit. So one of the examples that we have are acrylic boxes. Now, acrylic boxes are great to store things like snacks in. These are really easy to access, really easy to see. As you can see, we've got multiple different types of snack bars in this box, and you can pull out the whole thing to restock it or to just kind of find what's in it. Acrylic boxes are great because you can easily see what's in them and be able to stack them on top of each other to maximize the space in your pantry. For storage of canned items, canned storage racks are fantastic. We have these here that can help you keep all of your cans organized and visible. They're easy to restock. And if your pantry isn't shaped exactly like this, these can organizers can actually stack on top of each other, so you can set them on the floor or set them within a cabinet depending on what your needs are. For bread items, a really great tip is to use things like boxes or baskets. So in this case, we've used a couple of boxes here to keep our bread items separate. It helps kind of keep these things isolated, protected, so your bread doesn't get smashed in the pantry, and help keep them isolated from other odors that might be absorbed otherwise. If you have a lot of corner space that you're trying to fill up, then Lazy Susans are a great choice to be able to stack those items in the corners and still be able to get to and access everything that you've stored there quickly and easily. To store root vegetables like potatoes or onions, you can also put those in wire mesh baskets so they're easy to access and it's easy to see what's in there. And they make ones that go on your shelf and also ones that are freestanding that you can put on the floor. Now that your pantry is all organized and fresh, you need to make sure it stays that way. So tip number 5 is called first in, first out. All this means is as you get new groceries, you need to make sure the oldest groceries are actually in the front. So if you're restocking the snack bars in the kids section, you'll need to make sure all the new snack bars go in the very back. Likewise with your canned goods and also anything else that has an expiration date. First in, first out principle is exactly what the grocery stores use to make sure their inventory is always fresh, easy to use, and minimize any waste that you might have if you're not keeping your inventory up to date. Tip number 6 is all about extras and bulk storage. So now that you have a very nice and organized pantry, you're gonna have to restock it at some point. So once you go to the store and purchase these extra items to restock your pantry, you might run into a new problem, and that is you might not have room for all the new things that you purchased. That's okay. What you need to do in this case is make sure you have space that's designated for your extras and your bulk items that's not mixed in with your pantry. Now, it can be another location in your pantry or it could be a separate cabinet. The key here is to make sure that you're not cluttering up your pantry with extra items, because once you do that, it's going to get disorganized really quickly. Make sure you keep your organization intact. Put those bulk items somewhere else. Just make sure that they're easy to get to when you need them. Also keep in mind, you're going to need to check your bulk items locations, wherever that is in your kitchen, to make sure you're not purchasing things that you already have on hand. Just do this before you put together your grocery list and you should be fine. If you're interested in any of the products that we've shown in this video, we're going to have links in the description below where you can go and check those things out. Also, if you'd like us to put together a guide that takes you step by step through what we've done in our kitchen, we can do that as well. We just need to hear from you. So leave us a comment, and if we get at least 10 comments, we'll put together that guide and we'll link to that in the description as well. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you found it helpful. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Top Homeowner, where our goal is to help you become the top homeowner in your neighborhood. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Tip number 4 is all about specialized organization. I'm not sure exactly what that means yet. Or storing things like paper plates and knives and forks, and I'm gonna name everything now in the pantry that you might have. Okay, let me do this. I'm getting there. It's easy to access. Everybody loves it. It's got food in it, so how could you not like it? Trying to find, I don't know, a Nutri-Grain bar behind a Ziploc bag. That's horrible. That is a disaster of a pantry. Oh, look, it's behind the Ziplocs. There's the Nutri-Grain bar. Just one bar. We're not eating this part.